welcome everybody to our very first faction review video. I'm Joe Senior and I'm joined today by Jacob Whitehouse. Jacob finished third overall in the ITC in the UK last season. Regularly goes 3-0, 4-1 events with Tau. Some people say that Kyle Grundy is his father, so no better person to talk to really about Tau. So that's what we're going to be doing today. So we're going to jump straight into the army rule, and then we're going to go through all 4 detachments, get Jacob's feedback, and then he's going to give us his top 5 units in the current meta as well. So say hello, Jacob.
Hello.
So army rule. Are you ready for the most complicated rule ever made? So when 10th came out, I actually had a Tau army, and as soon as I saw this, I just sold them because it just completely thrashed my head. I almost can't be bothered reading it. Here we go. So, and I'll get Jacob to read it in English after I've read this out. So if your army faction is Tau Empire, then in your shooting phase, units from your army can work in pairs to help each other target specific enemy units. Sounds all right so far. When they do this, one unit is the observer unit and the other is their guided unit. The enemy unit that are targeting is called their spotted unit. Each time you select this unit to shoot, it is not an observer unit. If it is not an observer unit, it can use this ability. If it does, select one other friendly unit with this ability that is also eligible to shoot, excluding fortification, battle shocked, and observer units. Until the end of the phase, that unit is considered a guided unit, and that friendly unit is considered an observer unit. Then select one enemy unit that is visible to both of your units to be their spotted unit. Blech. Until the end of the phase, each time a model in a guided unit makes an attack that targets their spotted unit, improve the ballistic skill characteristic of that attack by 1. And if their observer unit has the marker-like keyword, that attack has the ignores cover ability. So that's pretty strong. Each time a model in a guided unit makes an attack that does not target their spotted unit, worsen the ballistic skill characteristic of that attack by 1. So that is all of it. Like I said, it's a
very small rule, you know. It's
just a small rule.
Yeah.
So what do you think of the rule? Like, is it good? Is it easy? Because when I first started playing against Tau, I didn't really know. It's very confusing who's spotting, who's guiding. It gets a bit messy, but obviously you've got used to it by now, sure.
Yeah, so there's a lot of words, and essentially all it is one of your units in your army that hasn't shot yet can help another unit that wants to shoot, and as the unit goes to shoot, you pick a unit that's also visible. It doesn't need to be in range of any weapons or anything, and the unit that is the one that is being guided essentially gets their ballistic skill increased by 1. And mark lights, obviously, you get the ignore cover,
which is super strong, right?
Yeah, it's a really good ability. Obviously, Tower hit on 4s, right? So that's the one. It makes up for the fact, right? Their army rule makes up for the fact that they hit on 4s. Yeah.
It basically means you hit on 3s, right? Because it's very easy to get you guided off, right?
In some cases, better because since it is ballistic skill increased by 1 goes to 3. If things like have heavy or +1 to hit, then you'll be hitting on 2s. So things like hammerheads, for example, hammerheads get +1 to hit and wound against monsters and +1 to hit, not wound, +1 to hit against monsters and vehicles. So then hammerheads hitting on 2s against the target that they're always going to be shooting at if they're spotted. So yeah.
Yeah, and the ignores cover thing's massive because everybody's got cover in 10th edition. Apparently, you can stick your claw around the building. Cover.
Yeah,
so ignoring cover's huge. I just found it super janky at first, but I am a bit more used to it now.
It is very, very strange. Every time when I go to a table, I always have to explain it.
Yeah, I feel like they could make that less messy. I like the idea; it's really cool, but
they have to be careful in how they word it, obviously, because just because like it could be potentially like abused, but
because you forget who's guided for what and stuff like that.
Yeah, a good thing is to use tokens. Avoid confusion.
Right, okay, so we'll move on to the first detachment then. we've got the Retaliation Cadre. So this is the one that you won an event with last week. Spoiler alert, we'll be doing a list review, a winning list review next week. So let's read the detachment rule then. Each time a Tau Empire battlesuit model from your army makes the ranged attack that targets a unit within 12 inch, improve the strength characteristic of that attack by 1. If that attack targets a unit within 6 inch, improve the armor penetration characteristic of the attack by 1 as well.
Yeah.
So that's pretty good. It encourages
very, very good. The strength is more so good in the cases of like missile pods and burst cannons, because it's pumping them up to like strength 6 on the burst cannons, which is really good. Because
that's a nice break point, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So let's just quickly go through the enhancements. You can let me know which ones are like your auto takes.
Yeah.
So Puretide Engram Neurochip. Everything's a bit of a mouthful with Tau, I find.
Yeah. Nothing's easy to say.
It's a Tau Empire battlesuit model only. Once per turn, you can target the bearer's unit with a stratagem, even if you have already targeted a different unit with that stratagem this phase. That seems good, but obviously you still have to spend the CP.
It is, and exactly right. You have to use the CP, and with the changes to the rules on what stratagems you can use again, I didn't actually take this enhancement. But I'm 90.
Sorry, go on.
No, it's you.
I was going to say, is this battle tactic only then?
Yes, it's battle tactic only, which isn't worded in the thing, which is really confusing, because when it first came out, everyone was like, "Oh well, I can do all the shenanigans." It's like, sadly, no. Yeah, I don't know why it wasn't put on there. It's dumb. So in my personal opinion, it's just not worth it. Just simply because the amount of stratagems that you can actually use it on is just quite bad. It's okay.
We'll have a look which ones are the battle tactics in a moment. So the next one, Star Flare Ignition System.
Yes.
Empire battlesuit model only. At the end of your opponent's turn, if the bearer's unit is not within engagement range of 1 or more enemy units, you can remove that unit from the battlefield and place it into strategic reserves.
So this is the big. that's the enhancement, in my personal opinion.
Yeah.
It's great. I took it.
Suits.
Yeah, it just adds so much mobility to the suits. Yeah.
Yeah, it's very scary. Suits going up and down is horrible. So the next one is internal grenade racks. Tau Empire battlesuit model only. The bearer has the grenades keyword, and each time the bearer ends a normal move, you can select one enemy unit that is moved over during that move. If you do, roll 6d6 for each 4+. That enemy unit suffers 1 mortal wound. That's pretty cool. So you could fly over someone and grenade them and potentially do.
So, but the wording on Fire and Fade in this attachment, I am 99% certain, is make a normal move. So you could move over someone, proc it, move over someone again with Fire and Fade and throw grenades. So you're looking at rolling 18d6 and on a 4+ taking a mortal.
So average of 9 mortal wounds.
Yeah, an average of 9 mortal wounds, and then you get to shoot something else.
It's going to cost you 2 CP and this enhancement, but it's pretty cool.
It's jank, right?
Yeah, it's pretty cool. And then the last one is Tau Empire battlesuit model only again. Each time the bearer is selected to shoot, select either lethal hits or sustained hits 1. Until those attacks resolve, ranged weapons equipped by the bearer have the selected ability. Is that worth it? 15 points?
I mean, it's 15 points, right? If you have the points, you probably just take it. It's not terrible. It's probably like the second enhancement I would probably choose to take, because I feel like the Star Flare is what you always take, just because being able to pick up suits every turn is amazing. And then if you have 15 points, you probably just take it, right?
You've got some points left over.
Yeah, obviously, like, this detachment is heavily focusing on suits. Like, all of those enhancements that we just went over are all battle suits, and then the rule, the detachment rule is battle suits as well.
Battle suit based detachment, isn't it? Stratagems then. So first one, failsafe detonator. This is 2 CP. Any phase just after a Tau Empire battlesuit model is destroyed, that target, that destroyed model's unit, you can use this stratagem on that unit, even if that unit was just destroyed. Effect: before removing your model from play, if it has the Deadly Demise ability, do not roll. Instead, you can choose whether the result is a 1 or a 6. If your model does not have the Deadly Demise, roll 1d6 for each unit within 6 of it. On a 4+, that unit suffers D3 mortal wounds. You can choose if the roll is a 1.
So then you don't explode, right?
Why would you spend 2 CP to make? I mean,
I guess it's like if you've got like Dark Strider on your backfield objective and you've got 3 wounds, and then your Riptide blows up and you cry because he dies, and then you don't go primary.
Yeah. I feel like that's one that someone will use after it's happened to them before, and they're like, I don't want that to happen again.
Yeah, right. Like, yeah, definitely. It's okay, right?
Auto explodes. It's very niche, but it's nice. 2 CPs a lot. Stim injectors. Your opponent's shooting phase or the fight phase just after an enemy unit has selected targets. 1 Tau Empire battlesuit unit that was targeted. Until the end of the phase, you get a 6 and feel no pain. Good?
Yeah.
It's good.
It's
okay.
Yeah, it's okay, right? It's a 6 up for no pain. It's not gonna like clutch anything. I mean, maybe. But like sometimes, depending on what kind of damage is coming at you, I'd rather just save the CP for a CP reroll if it's like big damage that's going through.
Yeah.
Like if you're getting shot with like against like some kind of like a gladiator lance or whatever, I'd rather just save the CP for a reroll.
Maybe you'd use it if it was tons of damage 1.
Yeah, that's what I mean, right? So like if the damage is like 1 damage, 2 damage, yeah. But I don't think people are going to be shooting 1 or 2 damage guns at your Riptide.
This is the best one and next one, in my opinion. The shortened blade, 2 CP or movement phase. You can basically deep strike 3 inches of 3.1 away.
Yeah, it essentially is the stratagem of the detachment, right? It's the reason why the detachment is. It's not the reason why the detachment's good, but it is a key factor. Yeah. So like,
because you couple that with the uppy downy.
Yes. Yeah. Right. Like it's.
Yeah. So every turn your suits go up. We can pretty much go wherever you want on the board, unless they've got infiltrate.
Yeah.
To death.
Yeah. So
like it's so good.
Like the detachment, the tournament, for example, the other day, being able to deep strike 3 inches away. If your opponent's trying to screen that in their backfield, then they're giving you angles for your other units, like your Riptides, to shoot them. So it's a lose-lose.
It's so hard to screen 3 inch. It's almost not worth it because you're just giving up so much.
It's
positioning and it's just
you're sacrificing so much to protect your backfield that
you're
losing aggression.
And also, like this detachment, you get buffs when you're close, which is also why this is very good.
Yeah, well, you deep striking 3 inches away and you're getting +1 strength, +1 AP, and so and then, for example, the crisis battle suits that get with the burst cannons, then are shooting like if you give them all burst cannons, strength 6 -2 AP shots. So, for example, I played against Drakari in one of my games, deep struck a unit down 3 inches away, and I just shot 1 suit into each unit, and I picked them all up. Like
1 suit into each.
One suit. So it was a unit of 3 and the commander, and I shot 1 suit at each different target, and I picked each one of them up.
Brilliant.
Yeah, it was dirty.
The next one, I'm not even going to try the Aracon protocol, whatever. Your shooting phase. This is a battle tactic, by the way. Is this the only battle tactic so far? Yes, this is the only one so far you'd be able to use that thingy on, where you can use another one. So your shooting phase, 1 Tau Empire battlesuit unit from your army has not been selected to shoot. Until the end of the phase, each time a model in your unit makes an attack that targets an enemy model that contains 6 or more models, that attack has the sustained hits 1 ability. If that attack targets an enemy unit that has 11 or more models, you get sustained hits 2. It's quite right?
It's okay for like something like your burst cannon unit that's coming down and like against, for example, orcs. It's a really good one.
I actually think that's the only one you can. Yeah, it's the only one you can
use that really good enhancement on. Yeah.
It's not. Yeah. See what you were saying now about not bothering with it. The Torch Star Gambit 1 CP. Your shooting phase battlesuit unit that can fly, whose attacks have been resolved this phase. If your unit is not within engagement range of one or more enemy units, it can make a normal move. If it does, you cannot declare a charge. So fire and fade.
Yeah. Yeah.
1 CP, very, very, very strong.
Yes.
The fact you can use it on Riptides as well is really cool.
What? No. Yeah, it's really good, right? A 1 CP fire and fade on a battlesuit unit is really good. Yeah.
So do you not have to have a target to shoot then?
Yes, because it says whose attacks have been resolved. But
yes,
you just not always, and specifically not in crisis suits anymore, but like so if you have like the indirect gun, you can't give it to crisis suits anymore, but you can give it to like a Riptide. So you have resolved an attack.
You can always shoot something.
Yeah.
And then the last one, grab Inhibitor Field. Yes. Your opponent's charge phase, just after they've declared a charge, battlesuit, of course. That enemy unit must immediately take a battle shock, which is quite nice because if they fail the charge, then they can't re-roll it. And if they fail the battle shock, and then you must roll 1d6 for each model in that unit. For each 6, they take a model. That's not really.
It's good, right? If you've got a unit crisis on objective and someone's charging you to essentially deny you the primary, but probably won't kill you, then if they fail their battle shock, then you can keep the objective, which is nice.
That's pretty good. That's pretty good, to be fair. The second part of it's a bit irrelevant. All right, cool. Let me find the next one. We're going. So, what do you think of that detachment overall? Where do you rank it, 1 to 4 out of the 4?
So, obviously, there's a few aspects of it that are good, which is the initial rule is good, and then probably 2 of the stratagems are good, and then 1 enhancement is standout, right? Out of the 4, I'd probably. Let's come back to that. Let's go with them all.
Should we do it at the end? We'll do 1 to 4 in the end. I'll let you think about it. All right, Montcar then. This is the aggressive one. During the first, second, and third battle rounds, ranged weapons basically have the assault ability. During the first, second, and third, while the unit is guided, they have the lethal hits.
Yeah, really good. Amazing.
Yeah, super good.
Speed on the...
But yeah. Advance and shoot. You can advance an action for 1 more week.
Yeah.
Sadly, that's gone.
It's speed on an army. It's extra speed on an army that is already one of the quickest in the game. So yeah.
It just helps you get angles, doesn't it, early on in the game?
Yeah, 100%. And we'll get onto a few stratagems that then further lean into it.
Yeah, cool. So enhancements, exemplar of the Montcar. Tau Empire model only, excluding crew shaper models. While the bearer is leading a unit, the killing blow detachment rule applies to that unit during the 4th battle round as well.
Yeah, it's okay, right? It gives you an extra
10 points.
Yeah, it's 10 points. If you've got 10 points, might as well do it, right? Obviously, it's only on the unit that it is leading. And essentially, it gives you an extra turn of assault, which is not terrible.
Not terrible. If you've got 10 points, you might put it in.
Yeah.
Strike swiftly.
Yeah, this is...
Tau Empire model only. At the start of the battle, before any moves are made using the Scout's ability, you can select up to 2 friendly Tau Empire units within 6 inches of the bearer that do not have the Scout's ability. Until the end of the battle, all models in the selected units have the Scout's 6-inch ability. So give 2 units Scout, and this is just you can give it to anyone. This
is select up to 2 friendly Tau Empire units. Is crazy. You can give Scout to Riptides. You can give Scout to literally anything. It's
pretty naughty combined with the assault keyword and everything, right? Because you, like you were just saying, you can find them angles.
Well, for example, a Riptide that moves 10 gets to Scout 6, and I mean we'll get onto it in a second. but if you there's a stratagem which allows you to auto advance 6. That means your Riptide turn 1 is going 22 inches.
That's amazing.
Yeah, just a bit, right?
22-inch moving Riptide. Hide from that. All right. Strategic Conqueror. At the start of the first battle round, before the first turn begins, select one objective marker on the battlefield. While a friendly Tau Empire model is within range of that objective marker and the bearer is still on the battlefield, add 1 to that friendly model's objective control. I really like that.
It's very, very good. So it essentially takes because it works on anything. So it takes Riptides up to AOC 5. It takes Ghost Keels up to AOC 4. Even things like Pathfinders, which will probably be in the midboard, makes them OC 2, which is huge, right?
Some really nice breakpoints there where a lot of vehicles are 3-4, so if your vehicles are going to 4-5, it makes a massive difference.
Yeah. Well, it means if you put in, for example, so it means that you can put things on objectives and guarantee that you hold the primary, essentially, right?
Yeah. And Breach has been OC3 on that objectives mental.
Yeah. Well, you can use it defensively or you could use it aggressively. So,
yeah, I really, really like that one. And then Coordinated Exploitation, excluding Creep Shaper models again. While the bearer is leading the unit, each time that unit is an observer unit until the end of the phase, ranged weapons equipped by models in their guided unit have the sustained hits 1 ability while targeting their spotted unit.
Yeah, so a lot of people get confused with what this is. So essentially,
I'm not surprised.
Yeah, words. So essentially, what it means is, for example, you could give it to a Cadre Fireblade in a Breacher unit, and when that Breacher unit helps a Riptide shoot into another target or any unit that the bearer's unit helps, the other unit gets sustained. It's not the unit itself. It's what a lot of people get confused with. So it's not it's the unit that they help to shoot.
I get you. Yeah, this is the thing with Tau, isn't it? Like they are. They are confusing. I really like the idea of the whole like guided spotted thing. But yeah, it does get confusing.
It's cool, but it's very confusing.
Right, stratagems then. First one's a battle tactic: pinpoint counter offensive, 1 CP any phase, excluding crew units. 1 unit from your army that was just destroyed, you can use this stratagem even though it was just destroyed. Until the end of the battle, each time a Tau Empire unit, excluding crew units, from your army makes an attack that targets the enemy unit that just destroyed your unit, you can re-roll the hit roll. That's good.
Yeah. Yeah, it's pretty cool.
So your whole army just re-rolls hits against that
unit. Yeah.
The rest of the game.
For the rest of the game. And you can use that every turn and it doesn't reset. So yeah, it's pretty. Wild. Yeah, so like for example, like if you were using Pathfinders, because obviously you can't use crew. So if you sent up a unit of Pathfinders as a screen, and then they died, but they had to use like a good unit to do it, then it's sad times for that unit.
It's so strong. It's just over moment for the rest of the game. Just because you killed like a devilfish.
And it's like, oh well, I'll just hide it. It's like, cool, I'll just kill it later.
yeah, that's it. Wow, yeah, that's got to be that is one of the strongest stratagems in the codex, I think.
What?
Aggressive mobility. This is a battle tactic as well. 1 CP. This is the auto advance 6.
Yes, 1 CP auto advance 6 is absolutely amazing. So obviously we mentioned the Riptides already. But one unit that I think shines in this detachment is Piranhas. So Piranhas already have Scout 9, and they move 14. So if you scout them 9, and then auto advance them 6, and they've got Assault, they're moving 29 inches turn 1.
29 inches.
Yeah.
That's wild.
Yeah. So for example, if you infiltrate a unit of Stealth and to help them with their angle, you then move them 29, the stealth pop out, and you're shooting something in the deployment zone turn 1 and getting with 6 Seeker missile shots and 3 fusions, ignoring cover, rolling 1 to hit, 1 to wound.
Oh, Jesus.
And you have him leaf.
And then go on, kill the piranha, and I'll pop through full.
I'll get full reels against that unit. And also, the T77 wounds, right? So they're not just going to fall over.
Yeah, they're not, a little bit tougher than you'd think.
Yes, and there's a stratagem that's going to help that as well in a second.
Another battle tactic. I don't know what they're doing with it when they decide which ones are battle tactics, honestly. I think they just roll a dice and decide. So this one's focused fire. Start your shooting phase. 2 Tau Empire units from your army that have not been selected to shoot, and 1 enemy unit. Until the end of the phase, each time a model in either of your units makes an attack, it can only target that enemy unit. And when resolving that attack, you improve the AP by 1. You cannot use this in 4th or 5th battle rounds, but
this is a really good stratagem. So essentially, because it's 2 units for 1 CP, yes, you have to shoot the same target, but it makes your Riptide's AP 4, and then if you're ignoring cover, most things aren't getting a save unless they have an invuln. So yeah,
that is spicy. There's a lot of damage output in this one with the
this is the hyper aggression, I am coming at you detachment.
Oh look, another battle tactic.
Whoa.
What? Combat debarkation. 1 CP, your shooting phase. 1 Tau Empire infantry unit from your army that disembarks from a transport this turn. Until the end of the phase, each time a model in your unit makes an attack that targets the closest enemy unit, you can re-roll the wound roll again. Wow.
Yes. So, obviously, when you disembark from a transport, most of the time the thing that is going to be in that transport is breaches.
Yeah.
And breaches already get full rolls to wound if you are on an objective, roll 1s if you're not. But what it means is, for example, if they put like a garbage screen unit on the objective and they didn't put their good unit on because I don't want to give you full rerolls, it's like I'll just spend 1 CP and do it anyway. So and then they're not on the objective, which it's a very it's not always needed, but being able to get full rolls to wound is absolutely amazing.
It's pretty strong. And then we've got Pulse Onslaught, 2 CP, your shooting phase. 1 infantry unit excluding crew from your army that has just shot, and 1 enemy unit excluding monsters and vehicles hit by 1 or more of those attacks. Until the end of your opponent's next turn, that enemy unit is shaken. While the unit is shaken, subtract 2 from its move, advance, and charge rolls. All right. It just makes me laugh how they, across the 10th edition, it's like the same rule, but they word it different for each army. Like, this one's shaken. I think Space Wolves have got one where you're frozen and stuff like that. It's quite funny. But that's really, really good as well, by the way.
Yeah, it is nice. Obviously, it's infantry. So, and it's not monster and vehicle, but it is still good, right? The only thing is that it's 2 CP.
Yeah.
So it's very expensive, and most of the time you want to be spending your CP on the on the other strats, and there's another strat that we're about to get into which is also 2 CP, which in the right situation, in my opinion, is just better. So
let's go on to that one then. So this one is your opponent's shooting phase just after an enemy unit has selected its targets. 1 Tau Empire unit from your army that was selected as the target of 1 or more of the attacking unit's attacks. Until the end of the phase, each time an attack is allocated to your unit, -1 damage.
Yeah. So, those piranhas that move 29 inches turn 1.
That's pretty good. -1 damage is really nice.
Yeah, it just means that they have to put more than what they probably think they should into a unit to make sure they clear it, right?
Yeah. Also, like, looking through all these stratagems, I can see why most people are playing this detachment, because every single stratagem is good.
Every single stratagem has play. Assault is amazing. Them being battle tactics as well. I mean, depending on whether or not you actually want to bring him. So the reason why, obviously, a lot of them are battle tactics is because it's Montcar, and this is it's Farsight's detachment, and so Farsight has a rule, where he essentially can Once a battle, you can target this model's unit with a stratagem for 0 CP, and you can do so even if you've already targeted a unit.
Yeah.
So obviously that's probably the reason why there's a lot of battle tactics, because Farsight is he's the monk guy. So you're
not seeing him at the minute. Why is that? Is he just not very good other than that role, or?
Well, the main reason why you're probably not seeing Farsight as much is that he's needed in. If you want to take him, you have to take unit suits. You're not just going to take Farsight. And I mean, if you are seeing battle suits, your crisis battle suits, you're only going to see them in the retaliation cadre detachment, in my opinion. Just because that's where the buffs help them, whereas in other detachments, there's just better options. Farsight is good. I want to use him. He's my favorite.
He's cool. He is very cool.
But at the minute, He
lost all his rerolls to hit and wound as well, didn't he? Yeah. All right, cool. We'll go on to the funny one. It's actually pretty good though. The Crew hunting pack. Don't diss the Crew.
Yeah, don't diss the Crew.
I played against as well.
I'll put you in Crew jail if you're not
against Kyle. It's actually pretty good. All right, so each time a Crew model from your army makes an attack, add 1 to the hit roll if the target of that attack is below its starting strength, and add 1 to the wound roll as well if the target of that attack is below half strength.
Yeah.
Super Crew.
Yeah, it's good, right? It's fun
a little bit.
Most of the time, what it's going to mean is that, like, so the lone operative, like, character on, like, the Axolotl Lizard, he shoots the unit, and then because he's done damage and it's not at starting strength anymore, your big blocks of Crew get +1 to hit, and his special rule is they get full rerolls to hit. So they're hitting on. Yeah, so they're getting +1 to hit and full rerolls.
And what's their damage output? Is it 401 or something, or 411?
Yeah, 401. Like, it's not gonna change. Yeah, but when there's so many shots, right?
Yeah, it helps. It helps them, like, actually do damage.
Yeah, it guarantees the clear of, like, a semi-tough screen, right?
Yeah. All right. Enhancements: Crew Hawk Flock, 10 points. Crew model. I'm guessing these are just all Crew model only. Ranged weapons equipped by models in the bearer's unit have the ignores cover ability, and enemy units that are set up on the battlefield as reinforcements cannot be set up within 12 inch. Yeah, deep strike denial. I think the ignores cover bits. Is that relevant? When you 0, not rate.
I mean, it's okay, right? The 12-inch deep strike denial is why you take it.
Yeah,
because, I mean, Dark Strider is a thing, so it means that, for example, you can take Dark Strider, and then you can take the lone operative character that I just talked about, and have 2 12-inch deep strike denies.
Yeah, and that's really good.
For 10 points, right? It's 10
that's
points.
Really good.
Yeah. 2 12-inch deep strike. It means essentially that you have to commit nothing to your backfield other than 2 characters.
It totally screws over a lot of armies. Or when you're already covering the board with Crew, like armies like Demons and Grey Knights, you just basically, like, you are not using your rules.
yeah, exactly, right? 3-inch deep strike is very much present in the meta, so being able to stop it is huge.
Yeah. Next one, Nomadic Hunter, 20 points. This is a Crew Trail Shaper only. Yeah. While the bearer is leading a unit, add 3-inch to the move characteristic in that unit, and ranged weapons gain the assault.
Yeah, so it means that your Crew are moving 10 inches, and if, for example, they've got, like, a scout, so then they're scouting and then they're moving, so, like, they can move very quickly turn 1, and put you in Crew jail. So yeah, it's nice. Yeah, it's not bad.
Less good when the new pack comes out because you can't advance in action anymore.
Yeah.
So it's still going to be nice. 10 points, root carved weapons. Shaper model only. All weapons equipped by the bearer have precision and devastating wounds. Is the shape? Does that matter? Is that any good? Is that pointless?
He's probably the most. He's the guy who stabs people in combat, right? So it's not bad. It's 10 points, but I'd much rather have the 12-inch deep strike than I have 10 points. It's not bad. It's okay.
It's just
personally, I would probably never take it.
Yeah. Fourth rod gland. That sounds horrible. Group flesh shaper only. While the bearer is leading the unit, each time a model in that unit makes a melee attack, you get crit 5s.
Yeah.
Why is this good?
So, obviously, crew strength 4. So being able to punch up into certain targets when so for example, the lone op character that we just talked about gives full rolls to a hit. So if you're getting crit 5s, there's characters that give lethals. So then, so you can go into a target that you realistically shouldn't be able to do anything to, and just hand them a bucket of saves. Because
just for them lethals on 5s. Yeah, that's nice. Then that's pretty good for 15 points. Stratagems: join the hunt. 2 CP, any phase. 1 Kroot infantry or Kroot hounds unit that has been destroyed. Add a new unit to your army identical to the unit that is destroyed in strategic reserves at its starting strength. This stratagem cannot be used to return destroyed characters' units to attached units.
So, in my personal opinion, this stratagem makes the detachment. It's the reason why the detachment's good. It's 2 CP, but essentially you just need to make sure that you always save the CP for this, and just be very careful how you spend it. So also a big thing, one of the characters, I can't remember the name, there's so many trails and blah 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 blah. one of the Kroot characters lets you use a battle tactic that you've already used. So if, for example, if the first unit dies, you can spend the 2 CP and put them in strat reserve, and then when the next unit dies, so because of the way it's worded, it means that you can then essentially bring 2 units of crew back every turn. Obviously, it's essentially only once per game you're doing it, because then the characters get detached from the unit, and but essentially what it means is if you are picking up 40 crew in a turn, all 40 are coming back just for a character.
The endless wave of chickens.
Yeah, right.
This is what that detachment does, though, isn't it? It just floods the board with OC and screens.
This is the stratagem of the detachment, in my personal opinion.
Yeah, cool. Trap well laid, another battle tactic, 1 CP. Your shooting phase or the fight phase, 1 Kroot unit from your army that has not been selected to shoot or fight this phase. After your unit has resolved its attacks this phase, select 1 enemy unit that was hit by one or other of his attacks. Until the end of the phase, each time a Kroot model unit from your army makes an attack that targets that enemy unit, unless the attacking unit is battle shocked, improve the AP by 1. So all your Kroot army gets +1 AP.
Yeah, it's not terrible. Again, it's a battle tactic.
That's all right.
Yeah.
Especially when you've got all them lethal rerolls, you can actually start doing some damage with your chickens. The Grizzly Feast. Well, I love that. I love the name of that. When the fight phase, 1 Kroot unit from your army that destroyed 1 or more enemy units this phase. In your opponent's next command phase, each enemy unit within 6 inches of your unit must take a battle shock test. If the unit taking that test is below half strength, subtract 1 from that enemy test. Enemy units affected by the stratagem do not need to take any other battle shock tests in the same phase. What do you think to that?
It's not terrible. Being able to do it at -1 when you're below half strength is really nice.
Yeah, it's all right, because it could mean that you denies primary or something, or
exactly right. Obviously, it is, you spend it in the fight phase, but it's in your opponent's next command phase, which it doesn't mean that you're not forcing 2 battle shocks. But because if it was take battle shocks in the fight phase, then it means that your crew don't necessarily have to kill the target. It just means that they could charge. If it was force them to take battle shocks, then take the primary off them. But yeah, it's 1 CP. It's not terrible.
Gorilla Warriors. 1 CP, your movement phase just after a recruit unit from your army falls back. Until the end of the turn, your unit is eligible to shoot and charge. That's pretty nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a pretty good one, that.
Yeah, it just means that they're not getting wrapped up.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, that's pretty good. Fall back, shoot and charge. Very, very good. Hidden Hunters, 1 CP. Your opponent's shooting phase just after an enemy unit has selected its targets. 1 recruit unit from your army that was selected as the target of 1 or more of the attacking unit's attacks. Until the end of the phase, your unit can only be selected as the target of a ranged attack if the attacking model is within 12. 12-inch low or not?
Yeah, it's
Very
spice.
good.
Yeah, it's spice. Can really catch people out, especially when, so for example, I'm not sure, I think it's the Trail Shaper. The Trail Shaper gives the unit a reactive move if you come within 9. So being able to reactive move, someone comes within 12, and then you reactive move out of 12, well, now you're not shooting that unit. And it's,
yeah, that's really, really, really strong. Yeah. I know you mentioned yesterday on about the Illic and the Rangers. That's why that used to be good.
Yeah. It is literally that. It is literally that.
You just can't get hold of them. So yeah, that's really good. And then EMP grenades. Your opponent's shooting phase or the fight phase just after an enemy vehicle unit is selected to shoot or fight. 1 croup grenade unit from your army within 18 of the enemy unit. Until the end of the phase, worsen the weapon skill and ballistic skill of that enemy vehicle by 1.
Yeah, it's
okay. -1 to hit. Yeah.
It's not terrible.
Cool that it targets the enemy unit rather than like the unit that it's shooting at.
Yeah.
Because then if it's split fire, it's just -1 everywhere. Yeah, that's all right. It's not, it's just
it's okay. Yeah.
It's just there. So that's that. That's the Kroot one.
That's the Kroots.
So what, do you like it? Do you think it's any good? I know, like, you still have to run some guns, right?
So, in my personal opinion, the way that you run the detachment is you probably take a bunch of characters to support the crew, but you still, and then you probably take around 60 crew, maybe 2 units of 20, 2 units of 10, maybe something around that, and then you just focus on the guns, because you want the Kroots to be acting as your primary and potential secondaries, depending. And obviously, this detachment makes Kroot Carnivores battle line, which in the new rules that are coming out, is going to help. Depending on obviously.
Yes, they might get a bit better as well.
Yes. So yeah. Also, things like hounds are super cheap. The 40 points for 5, and you're already going to be taking crew characters, and essentially crew hounds, when they're within 12, get a +1 OC. So normally their OC 0 goes back up to 1.
Nice.
Now, obviously, we don't know 100% the rules, but if it is unmodified, then it means that those crew can then still do actions, and they're only 40 points. So
yeah, so that would be really good. That'd be a nice little buff for him if that's how it works out, won't it?
Yes.
I think you do need to run a lot of guns as well. Like,
you still take your staples.
It doesn't really work if you're just pure crew, surely, because
you don't have enough output. Yeah, you don't have enough output.
So moving on to the last one then. This was the one that was in the index, wasn't it? Carry on. From the 3rd battle round onwards. So no rules turn 1 and 2 is a bit sucky, but
it's the only weakness of the detachment in my
it's still pretty strong detachment. So ranged weapons equipped by Tau Empire models from your army have the sustained hits 1 ability, or sustained hits 2 instead while they're targeting this unit's spotted unit.
Yes, so big change actually. So it used to be while this unit is guided, it gets sustained hits 2. So they've correctly changed it so that you can't just get guided and then shoot over there at your non-guided unit and have sustained 2. But sustained 1 and sustained 2 on guns like Riptides is huge. Hammerheads, I mean, depending on which one you take,
they have 3 shots on that.
Yeah, well, if you take the 1-shot one, or the ion head. But yeah, rolling a 6 to hit and then getting 3 hits with a strength 20 d6 plus 6 damage gun, you know, pretty good.
It's not bad.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, so the damage output of this army from turn 3 just is absolutely insane. It's like you've said to me before, you don't care if you've lost a Riptide and a good kill by turn 3, because then you basically have them back from the output of the other ones.
Yeah, well, yeah, I feel like it's the thing about what a lot of people struggled with this detachment is if you do lose a Riptide, but you still have 2 when that comes around, then the sustained hits 2 makes up for the fact of you losing a Riptide, which, yes, obviously means that you haven't got a Riptide to shoot into a different target, but the sustained hits 2 makes up for the fact of
yeah. Cool. Right. We're going to some enhancements then. Precision of the Patient Hunter, 15 points. Each time the bearer makes a ranged attack, add +1 to the hit roll. From the 3rd battle round, add 1 to the wound roll as well. Pretty good.
Yeah, it's not bad. It's 15 points, right? If you've got 15 points, probably take it. You're probably putting on a commander, but the only thing now is from the change, you can't just spam Sibs anymore. No cyclics. Can't spam cyclics anymore. So, but if it's still good, right?
Yeah, it's still good. Right. Yeah, it's still pretty good. Extra damage. Commanders are still good, right?
Yeah, 100%. 100%.
Right, so the next one, Exemplar of the Carrion, 20 points. Tower model only, excluding Croup Shaper models. They don't like them Croup Shaper models having enhancements in this.
No special rules for you.
What did the Shaper ever do? While the bearer is leading a unit, the Patient Hunter detachment rule applies to that unit from the 2nd battle round on. Auto take? Or is it only if you have suits, I guess?
Well, that's the thing, right? Is what I just mentioned about you only want to take suits in retail cadre, and you can't give it to a Riptide. If you could, yeah, it would be an auto take.
A Riptide character.
Yeah. Oh, stop. But yeah, right. You're only realistically giving it to a commander. There's arguments to give it to a cadre Fireblades, then the Breachers are getting it from turns 2. Which, yeah. I mean, Breachers are crazy. But it's okay. It was mainly taken before because you'd have a big 6-man brick of Crisis with cyclics and whatever, and you'd have the output turn 2. They'd be the output turn 2, and then your Riptides and everything else would come in turn 3. Yeah, it's still good. It's just not as it's not an auto take compared to what it was.
Yeah, that's fair. All right, cool. Solid image projection unit, 30 points. Tower Empire model only. After both players have deployed their armies, select up to 3 Tower Empire units from your army and redeploy them. When doing so, you can set those units up in strat reserve if you wish, regardless of how many units are already there. Yeah, I get why that's 30 points.
Yes, but it's before roll off of first turn. So it's bad redeploy because
the rubbish one.
Yeah. However, I'm not 100% certain, but I'm fairly certain that the way that the new rules work is all redeploys have their own phase now, and they're all going to be moved into essentially after the roll. So if that is the case, then this becomes very, very, very good. And in my opinion, an auto take. It's still good anyway, because when it means like if you get first point roll off against an infiltrating army, then you can string out your Farstalkers or Pathfinders along the middle, and then just redeploy them, and so you've denied the infiltrate, and then you're not losing them.
So it's still good, But if they do change that rule to where it's after first turn, that'll be very, very strong.
Yeah, huge.
Through Unity Devastation, 25 points. Again, no for you Shaper models. While the bearer is leading a unit, each time that unit is an observer unit, Until the end of the phase, ranged weapons equipped by models in their guided unit have the lethal hits ability while tagging their spotted unit.
So this is the one that we just talked about in Montcar. So in Montcar it gave sustained because Montcar gives you lethals, whereas this one in the counter attachment gives you lethals because you already have sustains.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, it's the exact same. When your unit guides to someone else, the unit that is guided gets lethals. It's not bad. It's not terrible.
Yeah.
But there's better ones. Right?
Yeah. Cool. So I think the main one you go for. Well, which one do you go for? I mean, there isn't like a.
To be honest, when
I'm
making lists for this detachment, the characters that I take most of the time are unique, so I just never take any.
Yeah.
If the change to the redeploys is what we just mentioned, then I think the solid image will be an auto include. It's got play anyway, but I think other than that, probably if you've got 20 points, I'd probably say the Exemplar of the Kion to get sustained from turns 2 for your breaches.
Yeah.
But other than that, I probably wouldn't.
Wouldn't bother.
Yeah.
All right, cool. Stratagems then. Coordinate to engage, battle tactic, 1 CP, your shooting phase. 1 Tau Empire unit from your army that has just been selected as an observer unit. Until the end of that phase, each time a model in your unit makes an attack that targets their spotted unit, improve the ballistic skill by 1, and if your unit has the marker-like keywords, that attack ignores cover.
So essentially, this is again very wordy. Essentially, what it means is, let's say I've got 2 ghost kills that are pushing up, and they want to shoot the same target. I can spend 1 CP so that the spotting unit, so the observer unit and the guided unit both get +1 to hit. It's a lot of words to essentially say that the observer unit also increases the ballistic skill by 1.
Right.
Yeah. So 2 ghost kills can push up, not need a spotting unit because they can just help each other into
target. Yeah. And this is why we've got you here today. This is so much simpler.
Yeah.
All right, cool. Attempting trap. Another battle tactic. Your shooting phase. 1 Tau Empire unit from your army that has not been selected to shoot. The first time you use this stratagem, you must also select 1 objective marker that is not in your opponent's deployment zone. Until the end of the battle, this becomes your trap objective. Until the end of the phase, each time a model in your unit makes a ranged attack that targets an enemy unit within range of your trap objective, you +1 to wound. You cannot use this stratagem in the first 2 rounds.
Yeah, it's amazing, right? The only downside is that the first time you use it, you have to pick an objective, and then when you are redoing it, you always can only get +1 to wound against a unit that's on that objective, because the first time you use the stratagem, you select an objective marker, and then essentially you can only use it on units that go on that objective.
Yeah, that's fair.
+1 to wound when Riptide, right? If a Riptide shoots, spend a CP, you get +1 to wound. Yeah. Amazing. Obviously, it's got the limitations like most of the things in this. You can't use it in the first or second turn.
Yeah, I think it's pretty good that for 1 CP you're getting it, and then it might come up again when you shoot something else. So you're almost getting like more out of it.
You have to keep spending it.
Oh, okay, but it's got to be that objective.
Yes, exactly. So that's the downside. So you pick that objective, but you have to keep spending it if you want to get +1 to wound on a new target, but they have to be on that objective.
Okay, so first time you use it really good, then it might not. But yeah.
Cool. Yeah.
All right, cool. Point blank ambush.
Words.
All these
Lots of words.
But battle tactic again. Your shooting phase. 1 Tau Empire unit from your army that has not been selected to shoot this phase. Until the end of the phase, each time a model in your unit makes a ranged attack that targets an enemy unit within 9 inch, you improve the AP by 1. Again, you can't use it in turns 1 or 2. Yeah, it's pretty nice.
Breaches, when they're running in, and because they're always going to be within 9, realistically. Being able to be strength 6 -2 AP. Flurry also wound, pretty good. Yeah.
It's pretty good. Yeah. Extra AP is always nice. Wall of mirrors, battle tactic, 1 CP. End of your opponent's fight phase, 1 stealth, ghost kill, or shadow sun unit from your army. Remove your unit from the battlefield and place in strat reserves. You cannot target that unit if it's within engagement range. Yeah?
Yeah, it's good.
Yeah, it's not bad. Yeah. That is just strat reserve.
It is just strat reserve. Yeah, it is only strat reserve.
Deep strike, correct?
No, but it is in this detachment. So you're probably going to take, in my personal opinion, you want to take Shadow Sun, and you're probably going to be taking quite a few stealth units. Ghost kills is a maybe. Ghost kills are really good, but the stealth suits and the Shadow Sun is probably going to, you're probably realistically in this detachment, you're going to take 3 units of stealth and you're going to take Shadow Sun, because stealth is super cheap. And they essentially become scouts in this detachment, because you just pick them up every turn, and they're an amazing spotting unit anyway. We'll get onto them later. But yeah.
Yeah, cool. All right. 2 more stratagems then. Combat embarkation.
Yeah.
1 CP, your opponent's charge phase, just after they've declared a charge. 1 Tau Empire infantry unit from your army that was selected as one of the targets of the charge, and 1 friendly transport. Your unit embarks within that transport. The restriction is that every model in that infantry unit must be within 3 inches of the transport. Yeah, that's amazing.
Yeah, it's really good. It essentially means that you can move your Delphish up, you can put it behind a wall, the breaches jump out on the other side of the wall, shoot whatever they're shooting, and then if you're playing against an army like World Eaters, when they come to charge you, you jump back in.
It's so good.
Yeah, it's
bye.
Yeah, it's really weird. And we'll get onto the stratagem that's literally the one after this, but you could use that stratagem first. Yeah. Anyway,
can they re-declare the charge?
Yes. Yeah. Yes.
Okay, I'm gonna say. All right, and then the last one, photon grenades. Your opponent's charge phase, just after another unit has declared a charge. 1 Tau Empire grenades unit that was selected as a target. That enemy unit must immediately take a battle shock test, and at the end of the phase, they're -2 to charge. Yeah.
Yeah. It's great, right? If the Delphish gets popped, then it means that the breaches can make -2 and take a battle shock. And even if they do make the charge but they fail the battle shock and like 3 breaches live, you've got 6 OC on the objective, so you might still hold it. So
yeah. Yes, nice defensive stratagems there.
Yeah, it's essentially, this detachment is about getting to turn 3, and then when you get there, the sustains carry you through.
Just mowing everything down.
Lost. Yeah.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
I'm sure a lot of people have experienced being on the other side of a carry on turn 3 go turn, and it's horrible. Your army just disappears.
It's fun.
It's not as bad now the cyclics are gone, but still.
Yeah.
All right, so I'm going to make you do this. This is your job now. Rank the 4 detachments, starting with the 4th.
Okay, so in my opinion, the 4th one is
under pressure.
They all have applications, right? And I guess it depends on play style. But in my personal opinion, for just in terms of how realistically Tau players are probably going to be playing, the 4th one is it's probably the crew one. Yeah. Obviously, they've got jank. They've got things and stuff. But it's nothing that's helping your Tau. It's a crew detachment. It's not upping the output of anything. None of the stratagems work on any of your units. It is literally just helping your crew. Obviously, being able to constantly bring back screens is amazing. To put you in crew jail. But I think that what the other 3 detachments offer in terms of either mission play or just output or mobility is just better.
Yeah, that's fair. And we're not saying it's terrible, because it's not terrible.
No, definitely not. Definitely not.
But yeah, that's probably at the bottom. So then the third?
The third one for me is probably Retaliation Cadre. So again, yeah, obviously the deep strike 3 inches away is amazing for either getting the angles or scoring in some cases. But yeah, I think that's probably the third one for me.
Yeah. And then number 2?
Number 2, it's sad because it's my favorite one, but it's Kion.
Yeah.
So the sustains is amazing. But yeah, I think it slightly gets eked out.
Yeah, and it's just find yourself behind in games as well and having to claw it back rather than going out, racking up points and doing damage straight away. And
that's often a game of 40k is. I mean, I'm not going to say in every game, but often it can be decided in the first 3 turns.
And turn 3 is usually huge.
Yeah, and if you don't have output for the first 2 of them, or you do, but it is not as good as what it is in others, then you're essentially, what a lot of people can do is they can exploit the fact that you don't have your army roll until turn 3.
Just hyper aggressive against you.
Exactly right. Yeah.
So then obviously Montcar number 1, which is what?
Just the ability to. The amount of plays that Auto Advance 6 and Scout 6 gives to a lot of units, and the amount of mobility that it provides is huge.
And all the stratagems are just amazing.
Yeah, all the stratagems are amazing. Yeah, lethals again, amazing. I don't think there's a bad thing about it.
Yeah, cool. And then last thing then, before we go, do you want to pick your top 5 units in the current meta?
So I have been umming and ahhing about this a lot, and I will just get my list now. So, so in 5th place for me, is probably, so obviously, in my personal opinion, the Tau Codex is probably one of the most well internally balanced books. I mean, I know I'm a Tau player, so I'm biased.
That's a little bit biased.
Look, okay. But yeah, I think it's a very, very well balanced book, and everything in it has its place. But yeah, so for me, the rank number 5 is probably the stealth suits. So they just provide, they just increase efficiency, right? Really, Monster Hit wants to win is great. In certain detachments like Kion, being able to pick them up every turn is great. The cheap, and yeah.
Yeah, cool. Moving on.
Number 4. Ooh. So number 4 for me is the Hammerhead. So yeah,
Hammerhead, it is very good. One shot one of my Redemptors the other week.
I don't necessarily think it is just it's just that. It's obviously the Hammerhead with the ion, not the ion, sorry, the rail is amazing.
Yeah.
But then with the access to the ion as well, so it's D6 plus 3, and its strength. It's the profile is just amazing. And when you take him through, it's super cheap.
Super cheap. 14 wounds, is it?
T10. Yeah, it's on a super tough, amazing unit.
Super cheap for what it does.
Yeah,
I agree. It's very good.
Yeah. Number 3, for me is Darkstrider. Is when I'm building my Tau lists, he is the first thing to go in. He's 60 points, and in the meta at the minute, there is a lot of 3-inch deep strikes, or not even necessarily just 3-inch deep strikes, right? Just So sometimes being able to send him up is amazing, but in certain matchups, just putting him on the backfield objective and denying that 12-inch bubble is amazing. It means that you're having to commit less to the backfield, and then it means that you're allowing to use your units where they actually need to be.
Yeah.
You don't mind it being there. Because
there is a lot of stuff that goes up and down in the meta at the minute. You know, there's a lot of armies that go up and down now, isn't there?
Yeah, 100%. And being able to screen them out and guarantee that your home field is always safe is huge.
Yeah, cool. That's right.
Number two, for me is the Riptide. Every list I have built has 3 Riptides in it. Riptide is eternal. It will never die.
Every unit just comes back in.
Riptide is eternal. It's just too good. It's T9, 2 up save, 4 up invuln. Its gun is amazing. The ion being strength 8 minus 3 flat 4 damage. I had to think about then.
And it's the game as well.
Yeah, and the big thing is definitely getting changed, but essentially what you can do is slow roll to wound, because the wording of its ability is in your shooting phase, not before you've selected targets or before you've anything. So you can slow roll to wound, and then once you roll a 6, you can then say I'm proccing devs, and then roll the rest. So for example, it just guarantees that you're essentially getting your devs minimum 4.
It's never wasting it.
Yeah, exactly right. It's definitely getting changed.
It's gonna get changed. I think
probably next week. But yeah, I think it's great.
Yeah, cool. Super tough, super fast, super shooty.
It's exactly what we need.
Got it on.
Yeah.
And then what's number 1? I think I know.
Yeah, it's the breaches, right? They're silly. It's not just necessarily their output. It's so in Tau, the big thing is the primary game. It's the big thing that going from a decent Tau player to a good Tau player is being able to essentially control the primary and ensure that if you are going behind, but you're also denying your opponent, and breaches do that exact role, but also their output is pretty silly. So breach of fish, as many people in the community call it, a breach in Delphish. Just being able to, for example, in Montcar, move your Delphish, auto advance it 6, and then they can jump out, swing the primary your way onto the objective, and then also, if you've got a Cadre Fireblade in the unit, it's 30 shots at strength 6, 4 rolls to wound, -1, or you can pump it to -2. They're just amazing. If you're in Montcar, you've got the lethals. If you're in Cayenne, sustained it's 2. On a unit like that is just ridiculous.
And they just randomly -1 to wound as well.
Yeah, so I mean they are they're a T3 body, so it's not going to take that much to kill them, but sometimes it can help and swing it a bit. Yeah, -1 to wound. They're amazing.
Right, cool. Then. Well, I think we've covered everything. Thanks for coming on and chatting Tau. I know you love chatting Tau, so if you have enjoyed the video, next week or soon we will be having a winning list video from Jacob's recent win at a Carnage event. So you can check out his list, and he's going to run through how he's beaten all his opponents and stuff like that. If you have liked the video as well, please give us a like and a subscribe below. And yeah, thank you for watching. As well, we have our next event in Home Firth on the 7th of July. So you can find all the information for all our events on our website. The link will be in the description below. And also we have some really cool t-shirts for sale. The original designs by tattoo artists from all around the UK. Every t-shirt you buy, some money goes to them as well. So you're helping support small businesses as well with that. So check that out on the website as well. And we'll see you next time, all right? Bye.